Nasir Ahmad arrived with his entourage at London airport. He was greeted by leading members of the Ahmadiyya movement in Britain, including Bashir Ahmad Rafiq, the Imam of the London Mosque. Soon after his arrival, Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad, accompanied by his wife, was escorted to the VIP lounge for a press conference to announce his arrival in the United Kingdom and his proposed attendance at the international conference. Huzur's visit and the conference established milestones for the Ahmadiyya movement in Britain and form part of a worldwide missionary campaign. The first mosque in London was built in 1924, and the buildings alongside formed the headquarters of the Ahmadiyya movement in Great Britain. Members and followers of the movement from both the United Kingdom and from other parts of the world gathered in preparation for Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad's arrival. Whilst many friends live in the United Kingdom, others had traveled thousands of miles from the American, Asian, and African continents to be with him. Arriving by car, Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad, with an agility belying his years, was anxious and eager to meet the several hundred followers who had assembled to greet him. Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad is the third successor of the promised Messiah. He was born in Qadian, India in November 1909 and was elected Khalifatul Masih III in November 1965. Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad is a great intellectual and memorized at a very early age the whole of the Holy Quran. He has an honors degree in Arabic from the University of the Punjab and graduated in philosophy in Arabic from Government College in Lahore. In England, he studied at Balliol College, Oxford, where he took an honors degree. His knowledge of several languages enables him to converse with members of the Ahmadiyya movement in many countries. Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad has brought about a great expansion in the missionary activities of the movement, and under his direction, mostly in African countries, a large number of schools, medical centers, hospitals, newspapers, and magazines have been established. The institutions established by him include the Fazle Umar Foundation, the Nusrat Jahan Leap Forward Program, and the Ahmadiyya Centenary Jubilee Fund. The eagerness with which the elders of the movement and friends both young and very young push forward to honor Huzur was a clear demonstration not only of the high esteem in which he is held, but also of the friendly and warm personality which emanates from him. On Friday, June 2nd, 1978, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih once again attended the London Mosque for a prayer service. Not only is he the leader of the Ahmadiyya movement, but also a down-to-earth humanist, with interests ranging from the study of bees and rose growing to the maintenance of a string of fine horses. Inside, the mosque was crowded with friends to hear Huzur on this occasion deliver a sermon. and to lead the assembly in prayers. After the prayers in the mosque, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih once again met more of his friends in an informal walkabout in the gardens surrounding the headquarters of the Ahmadiyya movement in England. For the formal group photograph, Huzur with his principal colleagues sat for the host of photographers which surrounded him on every occasion. Handshaking, homage, and unreserved adoration were in abundance as friends from all walks of life crowded around Huzur, confirming the popularity of the revered leader. Throughout the world, the Ahmadiyya movement has over 10 million believers, of which around 10,000 are in Britain. On the afternoon of June 2nd, the conference itself was opened at the Commonwealth Institute in Kensington, London. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian proclaimed that Jesus was only a human being and that he came as a messenger of God, carried out his mission, and died a natural death like all mortal beings. The Ahmadiyya movement declares that Jesus did not die on the cross, but was taken down by his followers while still alive. He traveled to India to convey his message to the lost tribes of Israel, and died at a great age in Kashmir, where his tomb can still be seen. Recent archaeological excavations have confirmed it to be the tomb of Jesus. The theme of the conference was therefore the deliverance of Jesus from the cross, and literature produced by eminent historians and writers was on display. For this historic event, believers and friends came to gather information and to be addressed by Orientalists, archaeologists, scholars, and theologians of many religions, who had been invited from all over the world to speak on their beliefs. The opening ceremonies took place before a packed main hall and to overflow audiences in adjacent halls by television. For this opening session, the speakers on the stage were Dr. Ladislav Filip, Sir Muhammad Zafarullah Khan, Bashir Ahmad Rafiq, and Air Marshal Zafar Chowdhury. After a reading from the Holy Quran, the welcoming address was made to the several hundred delegates attending the conference by Imam Bashir Ahmad Rafiq. Bashir Ahmad Rafiq came to London in 1959 as a missionary and deputy imam. In 1964, he was appointed imam of the London Mosque. Following the Imam's words of welcome, the conference was opened officially by Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan. One of the first speakers was Dr. Andreas Faber-Kaiser from Spain, a philosopher and scholar of comparative religion who has pieced together an impressive dossier relating to the tomb of Jesus in Kashmir. Dr. Faber-Kaiser's topic was that Jesus did not die on the cross. From Czechoslovakia, Dr. Ladislav Filip continued and spoke further on the activities of Jesus beyond Palestine and presented a new point of view on the question of the survival of Jesus after the cross. Dr. Philip's study of the historical Jesus began in 1956, since when he has presented papers at the Oriental Institute of the Czechoslovak Academy of Sciences and also at Charles University. The next subject covered the deliverance from the cross according to the Holy Quran and was delivered by Mr. Abdus Salam Madsen from Denmark. Mr. Madsen joined the Ahmadiyya movement in 1956. He is the author of a number of books on religion, as well as the translator of the Holy Quran into Danish. Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan is a learned scholar in world religion and the author of several books on Islam. Sir Muhammad is a distinguished personage. He was the first foreign minister of Pakistan and later became president of the General Assembly of the United Nations, and thereafter president of the International Court of Justice. The subject of his paper was the Ministry of Jesus, Prophet or God. Born in the Punjab, India, Mirza Muzaffar Ahmad is a grandson of the promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. The topic of his address was the lost tribes of Israel. Mr. Ahmad is a Bachelor of Arts and has held important positions in the Pakistan government and is now an executive with the World Bank. Sheikh Abdul Qadir, yet another scholar of repute to address the conference, covered the subject of the post-crucifixion life of Jesus. Sheikh Abdul Qadir is also the author of several books and pamphlets, including The Inmates of the Catacombs, the Qumran Scrolls, and the Holy Quran and Orientalists. Mr. Reginald Charles Everard Schofield is an Englishman born in Lincolnshire, and very graphically discussed the whole question of the survival of Jesus from the cross. His experience of different cultures and his interest in comparative religion gave an added depth to his talk and to his conviction that Jesus did not die upon the cross. He is convinced that it is now possible to distinguish the true story in the Bible. At the closing session, a resolution was put to the Assembly by the Imam of the London Mosque. The resolution called upon the governments of India and Kashmir to confer the status of an historical religious monument on the Rawza Bal at Srinagar, Kashmir, that adequate provision be made for its regular upkeep, and that encouragement be given for further research by permitting reverential investigation into the authenticity of the tomb. The resolution was unanimously endorsed. The main exhibition hall at the Commonwealth Institute, which is the permanent home for displays featuring the Commonwealth countries, provided the setting for the finale to the conference. Over 1,000 people attended this highlight of the week to hear an address given by HAZRAT KHALIFATUL MASIH. After a recitation from the Holy Quran, given by the Deputy Imam of the London Mosque, and following the welcoming address by Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan, HAZRAT Khalifatul Masih spoke to the audience. He spoke of the total uniqueness and perfection of God, the Creator and Master of all, and of man's total dependence upon him. He went on to compare the Christian and Islamic teachings, and with support from the Holy Quran, spoke at great length of the deliverance of Jesus from the cross. He conveyed with great love and humility a message to his people, asking them to be happy and sing praises to God and to turn to him in repentance to win his love. As God had said to the founder of the movement, "If you will become mine, the world will be yours." Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad's visit to London provided him with the unique opportunity to catch a brief glimpse into the workings of the House of Commons. Host for the day was Mr. Tom Cox, Member of Parliament for the London Borough of Tooting. In the members' dining room at the House of Commons, over 100 friends of the Ahmadiyya movement enjoyed the warm reception and hospitality extended to them. All the invited guests had the opportunity of meeting the revered head of the Ahmadiyya movement. Huzur spent some time chatting to local dignitaries, including the Mayor of Wandsworth and later the Mayor of Croydon. The mayors of 4 London boroughs were among the guests. As the House of Commons was in session during the day, an added highlight to this informal occasion was provided by the appearance of a number of members of Parliament who dropped into the dining room during recess. Notable amongst the 18 members of Parliament who called in was Mr. Norman St. John Stevens, and Huzur spent some time talking to him. Undoubtedly, the conversation swung around to religion. Several religious denominations were represented, including members of the Jewish and Catholic faiths, and throughout the afternoon, Huzur was kept busy with introductions and had ample opportunity for conversation on religious matters. The tea party went on for 2 or 3 hours, with Huzur obviously enjoying this relaxing occasion. There was even time for the cup of tea. During the proceedings, Huzur appeared to be quite at home and without doubt made a deep impression on the guests. Here the subject under animated discussion could well have been one concerning educational standards. Concluding the afternoon, Huzur visited the public gallery to observe the House of Commons in session, in what is the heart of British democracy. But even the British Parliament could not command the small shower of rain which greeted Huzur on this occasion. On Sunday, June 11th, under a cloudless sky, Hagley Hall in Starbridge, on the outskirts of Birmingham, furnished yet another lovely occasion. This time, an informal picnic in the grounds of the stately home. Hagley Hall, the home of Lord and Lady Cobham for many years, provided a fitting background for an event such as this. Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad was obviously very interested in the hall as he spoke to Lady Cobham, and later on in the grounds surrounding the hall to Lord Cobham. Huzur's extensive travels throughout the world and his experience of life enable him to converse easily at all social levels. Through his efforts, the Ahmadiyya movement is brought into wide contact with all walks of life. Over 1,000 people travelled by car and coach not only to enjoy the surroundings of the peaceful English countryside, but also to offer prayers with Huzur. The Ahmadiyya movement was founded by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the promised Messiah and the expected world reformer. He came with the spirit and power of all the prophets of God. The Ahmadiyya movement, therefore, seeks to uplift humanity and to establish peace throughout the world. It is Islam, true and real. Ahmadiyyat is a synonym for Islam, renascent and resurgent. It emphasizes that Islam is not the heritage of Muslims alone, but of the whole of mankind. It is therefore the duty of the members of the movement to carry out missionary work throughout the world. There has been considerable success in missionary activities as seen by the growth in membership of the movement in Africa, Europe and America, as well as Asia. The Ahmadiyya movement has already established 135 active missions in over 40 countries. It has also founded educational and medical institutions in many countries. In Africa and the Middle East alone, the movement has 71 educational institutions. It also publishes several newspapers and more than a score of periodicals. Membership of the movement is by no means confined to people of Indian and Pakistani origin, and the growth in membership of people of European and West Indian descent is most encouraging. Even on a holiday or during a period of relaxation, a Muslim does not neglect his duty to God or fail to offer the prescribed prayers. Hazrat Mirza Nasir Ahmad is a man of firm belief and conviction, and his visit to the United Kingdom will be remembered for a very long time by all those who were privileged to be near him, honor him, and pray with him. His visit will provide even firmer foundation for increasing the movement's activity and influence, not only in Great Britain, but throughout the world.